Welcome to Buddhas in Your Landfill. If you were tuned in yesterday, you probably remember that my show was sideways instead of straight up. And I thought I was straight up, but when I posted and went in to look at the show on the computer, people were commenting, "You're sideways, you're sideways." Of course, I couldn't see that because the way I filmed this, so you can read the whiteboard, is that I can't see the screen. So I thought I was straight up. But by the way, when I looked up straight up, I remembered when my uncle used to order martinis. As you tune into my 5 o'clock show on It's Martini Time, but he would always say straight up. So I really didn't know what straight up meant. So I looked it up, and straight up with a martini means you order your martini straight up, which means it's gin or vodka stirred or shaken, and then the ice is filtered out, so it's straight up. So, but this became a Buddha in my landfill. Now, when I talk about Buddhas in the landfill, we think that it's finding jewels or good stuff, or surprises or treasures. But the real Buddha in the landfill is when you screw up. Yes, the best Buddhas are when you are sideways and you think you are straight up. And the discovery that you were sideways is the Buddha in the landfill. So let's talk about that, because what I like to do, it's not that I'd like to do it, it's what I just have to do. Is what I do is that I take these my mess ups in my life, and they're kind of like a cotton ball, and I start pulling it apart to make it transparent to the transcendent. And the transcendent is awareness. So I have to use my screw ups, my mistakes, my embarrassments, my sideways, to see the straight up of reality. So let's talk about this for a minute, because this is a beautiful metaphor that you can use in your life too. So anyway, I wrote a little thing. It's almost like a haiku, I think. I went live on Facebook and gave a straight up talk. Sideways. So the sideways is what you see, but what I see I'm doing is straight up. You see sideways. So you in other words, I'm operating in a belief. I'm operating in a belief or assumption that I'm straight up. You are seeing me from a live point of view. So you're seeing that I'm actually sideways, where I'm seeing myself as being straight up. Aha. Now we'll look at the Trump interview. He thinks, in other words, this is a metaphor for the Trump press conference, where he was presenting himself as being straight up, and we're seeing him as sideways. So there is a conflict here between straight up and sideways, or assumptions and awareness. Or when I say assumptions, I mean belief too. A belief, and I believe something is this way, or I assume it's this way. It's kind of like the same thing. So whenever I have beliefs about my reality or the world, I believe this world that I see is straight up. The other person, though, looking at it from their live view, sees my reality as sideways. Now there's going to be a war, and now if you say that I'm sideways, I say, no, you're sideways. I'm straight up. You're sideways. And you say, no, you're sideways, I'm straight up. And now we got a tomcat fight. Boom, 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 boom. Wow, 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 wow. Straight up, sideways, straight up, sideways. When these two intersect, See what I did here? When sideways and straight up intersect, right here at the heart, you have awakening. But, okay, this is relationship. When we get into conflicts, which is relationship with conflict, with the other, and the other can be anything, my own thoughts, the world, or whatever, you get this relationship of straight up versus horizontal. And as I said, when you are horizontal, sideways, and you don't see that, anybody who tells you that you're sideways is the one who's sideways and you're straight up. So this is a inability to see truth, a resistance to seeing truth, because there is belief here. So the reality, I'll just say reality belief. So now here's the problem is that when I have a belief in reality that is straight up, that creates a me who believes it. Now, if I disbelieve the reality that I'm straight up, I basically have to disbelieve me. So I invest in my belief as being a straight up person. Other people see me as sideways. But in order for me to see that I'm sideways, I have to let go of my belief in me, which is a death. I don't want to give up me. I create me by my belief. In other words, the believer, which is me, and the believed is one. The believer, in order to have the believed, the cat is here crying. The cat. When I create the believed in reality, I create the believer. These two rise together, the believer and the believed. But I see it as separate. I see myself as the believer, and it, or whatever I'm talking about, or the ideas, is the believed. But the other sees the believer and the believed as one. You're sideways, and so is the world you believe in. But I can't put these two together. Because if I do, then the believer goes away, and so do I. So there is a real resistance to seeing that I'm sideways, because that also means that the believer is not real. You see what I mean here? If I believe I'm straight up, that I believe is real. The other sees me as sideways, which is not real. But I can't be unreal. So I have invested myself as the believer in the real, and the more the other tells me I'm sideways, the stronger my belief has to get. So I double down. I double down on being straight up, which makes me more sideways. And we can see this all the time. It's very obvious. The more, if I cannot question my assumptions, if I cannot question my beliefs that I'm straight up, then I have to double down on my belief because I'm under attack, you see. And that creates more other people attacking me or questioning my belief system. So that's when you get this doubling down and the magnification of the conflict between the straight up and the sideways. So the intersection where these two meet at the heart, you see, is awakening or realization, or what I call a Buddha. Is the moment where I see the reality, and my belief in reality becomes transparent. When I believe in reality, when I believe in my belief of reality, my assumptions, it's opaque. I can't see through it. Other people can, but I can't. It's opaque. I'm solid. But when I'm able to question my belief and my assumptions, at that moment, my opaque belief system becomes transparent to the transcendent. And what is the transcendent? But it's reality. When I'm locked into a belief reality, what is sideways, I can't see reality. Other people can, but I can't. So when I question my assumptions, and I ask the question, I don't know what's straight up and what's sideways. I want to see. At that question, that heartfelt question, my belief reality, the opaque belief reality, becomes transparent to reality. So when I live in belief systems, it is reality or truth that is transcendent, because I can't see it. So the only way I can see reality as what is I'm sideways. I see that. And as soon as I see it, bam, I straighten up. See that? As soon as you see, if your hand's on a hot plate and you smell and you feel burning, and you say, what's burning? Something's burning. And you see that it's your hand on a hot plate, the seeing and the action of taking your hand off the hot plate are one action. You don't say, oh, should I take it off? I think my hand's on the hot plate. No, there's no thinking. The seeing and the action are one. So when you see that you're sideways, the seeing straightens you up. Bam. You're real again. So let's use this as a great metaphor to find Buddhas in our landfill, and always take your martini straight up. Never, never, never take it sideways. Okay, see you tomorrow.